You're listening to Off-Road Garage Podcast, and here are Jason and Jim.
And we're live. What's going on, Jason?
You're looking at it, buddy.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Living the
You're
dream.
the adventurer. I do nothing. This is like the Jay Jealous of Jim's Off-Road Adventure podcast.
You were supposed to have something to do, but they canceled it.
Yeah, it's true.
That 511 always ready thing.
I was supposed to do things. I got poo-pooed.
Yeah.
Because of Rona.
The Rona got you.
I got Rona'd again.
Rona'd again.
Again. And then, it makes the rest of the world difficult to go and do things exciting. So,
Right.
So tell me about your awesome adventure, my man.
So we went down to Pennsylvania for a Jeep Jamboree, my second now Jeep Jamboree.
Yeah. A little bit different, I understand.
A lot different than Drummond.
Yeah.
East Coast guys are a little different. The whole situation was different.
So, East Coast wheeling is legit, is what you're saying.
What I could
you sent
tell.
me pictures. It looks pretty legit.
So what I could tell, granted, we were on the sponsored run, right? We were with Jeep Jamboree, which if you haven't been to that before, it's a company that puts on Jeep events, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's an off-road event. They're guided. They're catered. It's kind of a good way to get into wheeling because if you want to get into wheeling, you show up, you pay your money. There's an experienced trail guide with you to show you how to do what you're going to do. There's lunch provided, there's breakfast provided, and there's dinner provided for 3 days or 2 days.
It's pretty rad.
So if you don't know what you're doing, you just show up to this place. There's a bunch of other people in Jeeps, and you talk about Jeeps and drive Jeeps, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like we talked about before, we've been wheeling for a little bit.
A little bit.
This is my second Jamboree, and it's a lot different. We did the first one with Drummond Island we did together.
Yeah.
Good experience, good time,
In the
good
winter.
people. In
Made
the
it
winter.
interesting.
Yep.
Was supposed to go to the one in the spring, but got Rona.
Got Rona. This one was a little different. It was almost like going from Boy Scout camp to like the varsity locker room.
You're in major league territory.
Yeah. The guides were awesome.
Okay.
We took of course, I was with Sean CJ on Instagram.
Okay.
He drives a 2007 supercharged JKU 37s Terraflex long arm kit.
Yeah.
Pretty well built. Locked
Sweet
front
rig.
rear. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were the hindrance on some of the trails just because of our size.
I saw the pictures, and you look like you guys were in the stock class playing with the big boys.
Right. Because Sam was behind us. Sam's one of the trail guides. He was our mid-sweep or mid-gun or whatever they call him in a very, very nicely built TJ on Genrite everything, Rock Jock 60s or CRD 60s, the rounded ones, on 39.5-inch stickies, reds.
Of course.
And, he made his stuff look stupid. Our trail leader was a guy named Steve Risk, hashtag Team Risk It, which is why we have that sticker, Team Risk It.
Nice. You guys are on the team now?
Yeah. Apparently we were rad enough to earn it by beating on the JKU.
All right. Representing.
Yeah, and he was awesome. Outgoing, super over top personality. Been wheeling since like 30 years or something. He's new to the sport, right?
Okay.
He brought 3 rigs out there.
You always go prepared.
Well, how some guys bring a golf bag. He just brought 3 different rigs.
You can't hit every pole with the same club. You gotta mix it up.
So he had a Gladiator on 35s, CJ7 on 39s, and an 8 on 39s.
And like a 55-foot trailer.
Yeah.
Like trying to figure out, the
he had like an
Gladiator's like 20.
F650 flatbed quad cab. That's white and orange. And the trailer was white and orange, and all his rigs are white and orange.
I like it.
It was rad.
That guy likes to party. Okay.
He does, dude. He threw down. He's the only one. He actually rolled. He flopped it on its side.
That's even better when the trail guide rolls.
Yeah.
That's when you picked the right. Possibly.
Well, for us, it was definitely the right group.
You guys went hard, right? They still have the same difficulty levels.
So, yeah, the one problem that I have is I don't speak Jamboree.
Okay.
So everybody, I speak numbers, right? 1 to 10 or
Okay.
whatever, right? So the trails that we have were rated 7 to 8 the first day and 8 to 9 the second day.
In your group or for
In our
everybody?
group.
Okay.
It started at like a 2 and went up to 9.
So if I showed up in a stock Rubicon, they'd be like, all right, you're going to go to Group A and
Right.
you're going to have a great time.
Well, they give you the option is the problem.
They let you choose your own adventure?
Yeah.
I was never good at those books. I usually stopped reading them halfway through because they died.
So day 1, we did the 7 to 8 trail called Eastside Breaker Boys.
Okay.
We did it that day because they only had it open one day. So many people signed up for that one, they broke us into 2 groups because we had so many people going. We had like 28 rigs in line at one point. They broke it in half, and it was rad. It was coming from where we wheel or even Moab, like the rocks don't move in Moab. If the rocks move out there, you got a problem, right? I mean,
Yeah, the rocks that move, I think they're made to be there so you can build up a little
right.
bit.
Everything you
They're
drive
for
on
your convenience.
in Pennsylvania moves.
Yeah.
Everything you touch moves. They're sharp, they're jagged, they're not stable. So when we get in it the first day, I'm like, this is a whole different experience, bro.
Yeah.
It was way different. All the rigs seemed like they did okay when they were with us. It definitely was run, or the day was owned by two doors. So we had a couple TJs in our group. Two dudes came together and nicely built East Coast, no rust TJs. 37s was about the minimum tire I'd want to run out there, I think.
That was the small.
Yeah, there was a couple
That
guys.
was like, hey, you run 37s if you want a challenge.
Right.
Okay.
A couple guys in our group were on 35s, and it showed. Like, they would struggle in places that nobody else would. One of the dudes, like, he was a super cool dude, but it was his first off-roading experience ever, what I was told. Ever. And he's on an 8 trail.
That's a way to jump into it head first.
Then it cost him his hard top.
You pay to play.
So you pay to play. He was on the Facebook group for it, and he was a very good sport about it.
Yeah.
But it cost him his hard top, and and it was like a 20 or a 19. It was a JL.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he took it.
It's kind of hard to say that the shopping cart hit that.
Right. It's like he took it to the shop, had him build it, and then put it on a trailer and it came out. That's how it looked.
Yeah.
He showed up the next day with duct tape and cardboard in his window, and he found the trail guy. He's like, yo, I don't want to do these trails again. Can I find something easier? And they were like, yeah, we will accommodate you.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Let's go find something easier.
This game. It costs too much.
So the one like kind of weird thing for me is I've only seen the 7 and 8s.
Okay.
I don't know how doable the 1s and 3s are. I don't know what they look like.
Right.
I didn't see them because you're on, it's like 50,000 acres or some kind of crazy number, 4,500 acres. It's a huge number. It's called the Anthracite Outdoor Adventure Area.
Okay.
It's in Pennsylvania. If you Google it, you can get all the specs, I'm sure.
Okay.
But it's part of the mine reclamation project. So they're getting rid of the mines, the old coal mines, and they don't do the property because it's got a bunch of holes in it. Well, off-roaders are like, dude, we'll take it.
Yeah, right.
We'll take it, So they're trying to make it safer because I guess there's still holes in the ground. They don't know where they end. Like they're throwing rocks in them. You don't hear them hit the bottom. So like stay away from those, but
yeah.
everything
you
else.
guys weren't far from that area in Pennsylvania. It's like on fire or something, right?
6 miles.
6 miles from that town that.
It's been on fire since 63.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The underground coal fire.
Yeah, we were going to go see it, and we found out that the road to it has been barricaded now.
Oh, because too many people tried to.
No, not because they were going to see the fire.
Burned up.
Not because of that. You know what got it? What got closed down? The Rona.
What?
Because everybody was off work, so they were going out to check it out, and people were congregating on this road. They call it the Graffiti Highway.
I heard about it.
And since they were congregating, they shut the road down to avoid the Rona spread. Not because a town is burning, mind you, but because Corona hit.
Rona's killing everything.
Yeah.
You can't even go to the burning ground.
Yeah.
This makes no sense.
So it was a rad trip. I had a great time.
Would you say that the rating system is pretty accurate, though?
I would say.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a 10. At least not one of my rigs. I'll go on a 10 in somebody else's rig. But.
Right. So now you know why everything we see out there is like, or pictures from rigs out there are like 42s, 2.5 ton Rockwells,
right,
and nitrous blown big block Chevy.
Well, and I can see like
ripping at the rev limiter.
I was talking to you on the way out. Like I can definitely see why like Super Swamper SXs with that super bulletproof sidewall rolling on 60s.
You need a lot of extra rubber.
Is a thing. Like, because I mean, some of the times you had to bump it, right? So you're bumping it, but now you're spinning tires in jagged rocks that are moving. And it's just like, it's a recipe for disaster. At one point, Sean tried a bonus line, I'll call it. So we get to this spot in this trail, and our guide goes down it.
Tell him what you won.
Right. Our guide goes down it on his 39.5-inch crawler shod V8 powered CJ8. And he's going down, and you just see articulation. Tires are dropping into holes, and he's a good driver. He's been doing it forever, so he made it look good. Mm-hmm. But if you know what you're looking at, you're like, whoa, that's for real, right? So about 3/4 of our group were like, no, I'm not doing that. Not going to happen. Not going to do it. Don't want to. No, So he's like, all right, cool.
Sounds like I want to drive.
Sounds like I'll do it. So he was like, all right, bet. We're done. We'll go somewhere else. So he comes back up and he goes, you want a show? And he comes back up at like driving up a 2-track, like no problems, no tire slip, nothing. I'm like, okay, show off, right? And he goes, hey, first guy in line, follow me. And he makes like a hard left into the woods. First guy in line didn't listen. So we end up driving like half a mile out of the way in the wrong trail. And we can see him getting further away from us as he's going into the woods, and we're going parallel, right? So he stops, and in his gentlest voice to ever, he's like, hey, didn't I say to follow me? What the hell are you doing over there? And then he's like, stop, everybody stop. Driver's meeting in the center. He like walks into the woods. He's like, I said follow me. He's flailing his arms, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
This is rad.
Get him.
So he's like, all right, go up. He knows the trails really well. He's like, go up here, make a left. I'll meet you. So we go play another rock garden, and we come back, and he jumps out of the truck and goes, hey, you guys want to hit that hard section I climbed? And Sean's like, yeah. Sean's like, I'm hip. That's this thing. I'm hip.
Yeah.
I'm down. So he goes, all right. And he gets on the PA. He's like, Sam, Ian, Midland guys. And he named off like 2 other guys. You make a left. Everybody else go straight. Follow me. I'll be at the top. So he starts to drive again. Of course, the very first guy in line makes a left. He stops and he's like, hey, I said if you wanted to climb that nasty hill, make a left. And the guy's like, brakes, reverse, like, I'm out of here. So we all get to that hill, and it was gnarly. I mean, it was very steep, very short, no run up. You couldn't run at it.
Yeah.
And between like microwave and Volkswagen-sized rocks that move.
Jagged.
Right. So this first guy comes at it, and I think it was Keith and Lori. If I got your name wrong, you're listening, I apologize. They're in a yellow TJ. They're from the Pennsylvania area. They wheeled from here to California. They've wheeled all over the place. That's all they do. They've got 7 Jeeps in their family.
Wow.
So he's running a TJ with a little bit warm 4-liter, it sounds like, 44 front rear on 40-inch crawlers. And he starts to climb it, and he's making it. And he falls in these holes. So he just gets this big, like, grin on his face and just stands in it. And all 4 tires are like 2.5 feet off the ground, just hopping. Wop, 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 wop. Rev limiter going. Crawlers are just chucking rocks. Now, every time he comes down, the line changes because he's moving the line.
Yeah.
And just giving her the beans. And one guy's like, aim for the tree. So he aims for the tree, and his crawler hits it, and he grabs, starts to climb it. Not his crawlers, creepy crawlers. Yeah. Max's tires.
Okay.
Starts to climb up that, and he stays in it, and it bounces him back into the line, and he comes back down, and I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like,
yeah.
He's a TJ on 40s. Sean's a JK on 37. I'm just looking at like the size difference here. So I was kind of hoping, okay, with the wheelbase, maybe we can get on top of these things.
Yeah.
That was my thought,
Could help, could hurt. Sounds like a crowd
So
pleaser.
our trail guide had this very gentle way to persuade Jeeps, right? He gets a tree saver, and he runs over and goes, hey, driver, turn your headlights on. Turn your headlights on. And you go, hey, little Jeep, you want the strap? You're going to get the strap. Little Jeep, you're going to get the strap. One more time, little Jeep, you get the strap. And then he just walks away. And then they make it. Every time he did it, it worked.
What kind of Jeep voodoo is he using?
I don't know. Then he's like, turn your lights off. I can't see to spot you. Like, you just said, turn them on, bro. Like,
That was just a...
he just wanted to make sure the Jeep saw it.
Okay. All right.
So then Keith gives her the beans and pops over the ledge and climbs out. Like, no big deal. Then a couple more guys go. I didn't catch her name, but they were 2 guys that were very clean. One was in a white, one was in a blue or black Rubicon JK or TJ. Short arms, actually, both short arm Jeeps, but they did very well. Didn't seem to have any problems. They're both on patties, sticky patties, which are the Patagonia Milestars or Milestone Pataguard.
Sticky patties.
Yeah. They did well. I mean, they held up very well. The guys that were driving were like adverse to airing down. Because for the first little bit, they run like 19 or 20 pounds, and Sean was running like 8.
Yeah. People get kind of sketched out when you start getting really low.
Well, that and the one guy said he cut 4 tires the year before, and like one of them had like a hole in it so big he'd air down, like so he was scared of ripping the sidewall up on it. I guess. Whatever. They both made it. No winches needed.
I don't think airing up's gonna help that, but.
They were worried about like the way it
The
conforms
bulge.
to the rocks.
Okay.
I guess gives you more area to stab. I don't know. They made it up, and then here comes Sean and what they were calling the school bus.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he gets maneuvered into place and immediately turtles all 4 tires. They're just up in the air spinning, and he's on his belly and just not working. So he was able to get kind of moved around. Ian, one of our trail guides, Mike, who was Sam's co-pilot trail guide, ran down and started just throwing rocks under his tires to get him up. He made it up like another 10 foot, and then it was a wrap. Like, he was hung up on his rear pinion, his rear bumper, and his front right side. It was all hung up. So they're like, we're going to give you the strap. And Sean's like, 1 minute. So he lets the supercharger eat for a minute, starts hopping, shatters a rock with his control arm mount, his long arm mount. The rock gets hooked up on his BFGs, which are aired down at 6 PSI, and shoved up in between the tire, the fender, the brake line, and the C. And it's just stuck there. So, of course, everybody was like, stop, 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 stop. Because at this point, you hear the rubber.
Right, yeah.
And we had to figure out how to get this thing unwedged. But first, I had to get a shot of it.
Yeah, of course.
So I ran down. I got a photo of it. Somebody got a photo of me getting a photo of that. So that's pretty rad. I'm like, at least they caught me working for Midland, right?
Yeah. You got the calorie count in.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah, for sure.
On rocks.
So we ended up just winching Sean out, but every inch here, as everything from the front pig back was getting drug on rocks. The odd part is Sean's like, I still got my evap canister. After all that, an 07 saw his evap canister attached. So it was pretty rad.
All right.
He did Midland proud. I mean, he had the Midland stickers on the truck. It looked good.
Yeah.
We showed off a lot of the Midland wares that we had. I guess I forgot to thank them in the beginning. That's why we were down there. We partnered up with them for the run. So the next guy comes up, and it's Ian. And Ian's driving a stick shift TJ, and he comes up at like a champion, like no issues. And then Sam comes up at I got the crush on that red TJ, and no issues. But all the people that were up on top of the hill, you could see were like in total awe of like what good drivers and good equipment can do on a nasty trail, because we had everything from a 35 tired TJ, relatively stock short arm, to Sam's rig on coilovers and 40s, or Steve's rig on air springs in the front, coilovers in the rear and 40s.
Okay. So
we had some pretty serious built rigs out there. Great trip, great area, good weather. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
really, it all came together for you guys.
It did. And a couple of the spots I called you and like rubbed it in, I guess. But I was like, dude.
It sounded amazing. I was happy for you.
Day 2, we did this he's like, all right, we're going to go through this little ditch and then climb up these rocks. Well, the ditch is just long enough and wide enough and wet enough to cover all 4 of your tires in sticky mud. And then you can't spin them because you're in rocks. So now you're trying to climb sticky rocks with sticky wet mud.
Yeah. It turns to grease.
It's pretty different, dude. And no matter where you were in the line, every time the guy in front of you went up it, unless you were first, the line changed.
Oh.
So, you thought, oh, okay, he made it. Well, when he made it, he rolled down 2 boulders and now have changed the entire line.
Right.
It was different. And day 2, we had a big mix of rigs, too. I mean, we had a guy on a full-body ZJ on, 34-inch LTBs.
Dude, that's where it's at.
That's where it's at. He did well. He's a driver. I mean, he drove it well. He's done a 30-35 axle set with, 34-inch tires.
Yeah, that's probably, that's impressive.
He drove well. I mean, he was out there doing it all.
V8 or 4-liter?
4-liter.
That makes sense.
It held together.
Yeah. And you don't have the power to break anything.
Right.
Good. I take that back. I still broke stuff.
You still broke stuff. Yeah, I don't know if at least there's only one V8 I know of for sure on our trail. Sam's got a 4.7 stroker.
Okay.
And everybody else had 4 liters.
Okay.
Yeah. It was great. It was a great time. It was a great event. Very well run as always. It was kind of weird because I'm used to when I went to the Drummond Island Jamboree.
Yeah.
There was the fellowship aspect of it. Hey, everybody, we're gonna go be hanging out in the.
Oh yeah, because we went. It was pre-Rona.
Right,
so
pre-Rona.
We were still able to hang out and.
Right. So this time we're dinner was drive-through. You drive through the line, you do check-in on, and they hand you a box of food, and you go back to your trailer and eat by yourself.
Yeah.
That's
unfortunate because it sounds like that would have been a good one to hang out and chat and get with some people, find out, what they're about.
See what the whole area's about,
Yeah.
And the weird part was I ran into 10 people from Michigan down there.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a bunch of guys from the Wicked Jeeps were down there. Mike Holtz was down there with Best Op.
Yeah.
Alex and Ari were down there with their rigs, driving his and her rigs. Craig was down there from Wicked Jeeps.
Okay.
So it was kind of funny because it's only 8 hours from Michigan. It's not terribly far.
No, that's not bad.
And when you think about it, you can drive further than that and stay in our own state.
That's true.
So, for them, it wasn't really a bad trip.
No, for that kind of wheeling too.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good.
For 2 days of guided wheeling and pretty cool stuff, it was rad. My only bummer, that I could say, was there was never a view of the mountain. Like, you're always in the mountain, like in the trees and the valleys.
Right.
You never got to the top where you see the picturesque Smoky Mountains or whatever the heck I was in, Appalachian Mountains or what was it? Cumberland Mountains, I believe they were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Dude, it was a rad trip. I would do it again. Like, I always thought Jeep Jamboree was like for beginners and old people.
Yeah, I could see that.
But like it's like the RV crowd. Like, I'm gonna drag my RV down there and have my Jeep and go wheeling it. Which there were some of those guys, and we met a guy named Jim from Missouri.
Okay.
And he was rad. And he and his wife are retired, and they got an RV and they're driving around. And they happened to be in the same area as Jeep Jamboree. They signed up for it, and he came out to beat on his JK 2-door.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, he was a rad dude.
That's not bad at all.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting when you go to a different state.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to do one down south, like Windrock or something.
Yeah, I got to figure out where they're at, because like I've heard Land Between the Lakes is a beautiful area, but not like very hardcore.
Okay. And
I've heard like there's a 4-day one in Wyoming. It's an overlanding event.
Oh, that sounds.
When you stay in the Jeep for 4 days and they like fly food to you.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty awesome.
So I talked to a couple guys who have done the Rubicon Jeep Jamboree, and they actually like the campsite. They actually fly in a baby grand piano on a Chinook helicopter and have a dude play piano music while you eat dinner.
I don't know about all that.
That's a little hardcore. I mean, a little
in a really softcore kind of way.
Right, like it's really over the top. That's their
I'm on the
flagship.
Rubicon Trail, man. I want to see stars and like
Nature.
I don't know that I want to hear a guy playing a grand piano.
Right.
But I guess when are you gonna say that? Oh, it's at the Rubicon Trail. Let's maybe a guy play piano. Kind of weird.
Right.
In an odd way.
So
unique. Let's go with unique.
I was looking at that one in Wyoming. Sounds super rad. 4 days in Cody, Wyoming. 2-tracking through the mountains and the streams and the valleys.
Yeah, that could be cool.
That'd be rad.
God dang it! There's so many things I want to do.
Well, that's where I'm like now. It's like I've got the JK and the TJ, so I can build the JK for longer trips like that. And if I go back down to AOAA,
now, did we change the build plan on the TJ? Are we getting bigger, meatier, less, more extreme, less extreme?
The TJ is kind of like at the point now where it's like it's the toy.
You might as well go hard.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to do tons or not, but if I can do some built 44s or 44.9 maybe for the TJ.
Yeah.
But I mean, like we've talked about in the past, building a 1-ton is probably the same price as trying to find and properly build a 44. If you build it right with RCVs and
we go down that wormhole again. Yeah.
They're just big, and that's one of the things I thought about was the weight and the size, and because our trail guy was running Spider Tracks 9s with True High 9 third members in them, but that's like
the 1-ton axle shaft part of it in a lighter.
But it's also like $10,000.
Front and rear,
yeah, each.
Yeah,
because the center section is like $4,500. And I need steering components, and I need shafts, and I need all that mess.
Now there's ways to cut some cost out of it doing it yourself,
right?
But yeah,
because I've always wanted 9s because they're so high clearance. Like I could run a 35 and still be good high clearance. But when I saw it, says Googled, I'm in the trail, and Sean's like, "Oh yeah, he's running True High 9s." I'm like, "Oh, those aren't, those are $5,000 axles." He's like, "No, bro." So I Googled it. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Because the Spider Tracks housing is like $3,000.
Yeah.
The center section is like $4,500, and then you need brakes and axles and. Yeah. So, but it looked rad. I mean.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I wonder how. I almost want to go buy Sean like a case of black spray paint. Like, here you go, bro.
It sounds like he needs the whole underbody.
Well, I told him, I was like, get with Jay.
Yeah.
Come use the hoist. So he's crawling around in his garage on the piece of cardboard, spray paint everything. I'm like, put it on the hoist, bro.
Yeah.
Because then
it's right down. He's not even that far.
Then we can get out like the sanders, or like the wire wheels, and actually kind of flatten stuff out and then sand it down.
Yeah.
Because everything
knock the crud out of it.
Everything you heard was just grinding and crunching, and dude, it sounded like stepping on broken glass. It was bad. It was like whew.
Putting everything underneath to the test. I appreciate that.
Yeah, the gas tank skid plate is actually like domed the wrong way now from getting smushed in the middle. Like, yeah. So then I got hung up on everything.
Of course.
Yeah.
Time to upgrade that.
Yeah, I will give Terraflex credit, though, because those arms took a beating. I mean, because he'd come down, because they're long, so right behind the back doors, they attach. He would drop down off an obstacle, off the belly pan.
Right onto that arm.
Right on the arms.
Full weight,
drag him up the rock because his tires are still spinning until his tires would hit, and they'd pick off the rock. Oh. So they took a pounding this weekend.
Wow.
And I'm not sure how much you followed, but we lost power steering the first day.
I saw that. What was the story with that? It was just the power steering pump.
So he just did a redneck ram upgrade.
He did the box and the ram itself.
Had him tap the box, new ram. He didn't have time to find and didn't have the cash flow to drop $700 on a high flow water pump or a power steering pump.
Okay.
So
they still don't. I mean, they say it's recommended, but I don't think they say they need it. But did he put a cooler on it too, or no?
Not yet. He's still trying to research that whole situation.
So that could have also
aided
possibly played in the downfall of the stock pump.
Stock pump on those rocks on 37s, pushing all that weight
hard.
around. Yeah. So we lost power steering, and he's like, I love him. He's one of my brothers. He's like, hey, you want to drive? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm taking because
no, you ain't got power steering, bro.
I was there to take photos for Midland. That was why I was there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm taking photos and I'm getting pics, and he's like, hey, bro, you want to drive? I'm like, no. And I'd look over, and he'd have both hands on the steering wheel trying to make a turn, like yanking it down to the right. And I'm like, he's like, you want to drive? I'm like, no, I'm gonna go get a picture of this. Like, this is cool. So the whole way, he's like, you want to drive?
That's even more rough, too, because then you're just trying to turn the tires. Now you're trying to move the fluid in the ram that doesn't seem to be moving anywhere.
Right.
Like,
and your tires are wedged between rocks, and you can't, because the guy behind us was one finger steering, using his tires to push himself. He was full hydro. So he pushed himself up out of the rocks with the hydro and just pop on top of him. And I'm like, yeah, it's rad. And Sean's back there like, we can't make turns. We start changing our line. Not because one way is easier or harder, but because we couldn't turn enough.
Right.
We took a couple harder lines because they couldn't make the turn for the easy line. We got pushed off line a couple times. So thankfully, when we got out, he actually made a phone call on top of the mountain. And it was a very funny phone call. He's like, hey, looking for a power steering pump for a 2007 Jeep Wrangler 4-door with the 3.8 in it. And the guy's like, yep, I got one. How soon can you be here? And Sean's like, well, I'm on a mountain right now. The guy's like, you're on a mountain? He goes, yeah, I'm over here at the AOAA. In the mountains, and as soon as I get out, I'll come over there. So everything in the town of Shamokin, which is where the AOAA is at, closes at like 2:00.
Is that nothing else going on?
Forget you, we're closed. So we had to drive like a town and a half over, like 25 minutes or so.
You guys had issues other than that too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that. But anyway, finish your power steering pump.
I got to work on like bullet points to keep stuff in order.
Yeah.
Because so far we're all out of whack.
That's fine.
Okay. So we go get the power steering pump, and that's where we found out about that town.
Okay.
Because Sean wanted to change the pulley off of his pump onto the new pump. So we did it. We swapped the power steering pumps at the AOAA, drove to there with the old power steering pump, swapped the pulleys in the auto zone or advanced auto parts.
Yeah.
And while we were there, Sean's like, isn't there a town on fire? And the dudes were like, hell yeah, it's right down the road.
Hell yeah, thing's still burning.
He's like, you got to come down here when it snows and go see it because there ain't no snow on the ground. It's just hot and steamy. And
that's got to be weird.
Yeah, right. So everything else will be snow covered except for these roads in this town that's on fire.
I think they took down all the buildings, though, right?
I think so. I don't know. Maybe something for me to Google later. So we get that all changed out. We go back. We've put new steering fluid in it, and I'm able to turn the wheel in the parking lot, which is a step in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
So I can turn the wheel by just using one finger and turning it.
Back to good-ish,
Yeah.
better.
Good-ish, right. And it held up the whole next day, and it was definitely, Sean said, it's definitely an improvement over the day before. And
yeah. So his pump was probably giving up the ghost. It had lived a hard life.
It has. Well, that's his at least second or third pump that I know of. Because we replaced one at Silver Lake one year.
Okay.
When it blew up at Silver Lake.
Yeah. I know in mine there's a way to like drill it out or something so you get more flow.
Okay.
On the older style. I don't know if the new ones you can do that or not.
Like one of the channels or something inside of the...
Yeah, that, whatever, the orifice or whatever, coming out of the pump.
So, yeah, that was different.
Okay.
You know.
But you had tow rig issues also? I saw the picture of that.
So we were going down through Pennsylvania, made it out of the turnpike in Ohio, and we're probably an hour and a half, 2 hours from AOAA still. We had to drop the rigs off. And we slams on the brakes coming into a construction zone. Like everybody stops. We kind of get on the binders a little bit. And I see a puff of smoke. I was like, yo,
Like from the front?
Yeah. I'm
Like it passes you?
I'm like, I don't want to be that guy, dude, but I think you're smoking. And he's like, okay. He starts pumping the brakes like, yeah, something's wrong. Something's wrong. So we couldn't do anything. So we drove the rest of the way to where we were going to go and finally had blown off a front right brake pad. It actually came off of the backing.
Okay. Separated.
And grenaded itself in the rotor, throwing
Perfect.
hot metal and plastic, whatever, everywhere. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Sweet.
So
you did a brake job.
the day we get there, we do a brake job in the parking lot. Yeah.
Off to a good start.
Off to a great start.
Yeah.
Not to mention on the way down, it started missing really bad, which I guess is a common problem with 3.7s.
Really?
Like it's missing on one of the cylinders, and if you Google it, it talks about how air builds up in one of the parts of the turbos.
Oh.
Or not air, water, and it throws it in the ejector, and just, I don't know. I'm trying to Google what he's driving, like why we're missing.
Right. Why is?
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's his next project. Now it's fixing the daily before he has to fix the rig.
Off to a good start.
Yeah, dude. But I mean, everything he had held up very well. I was very impressed. My hiking shoes got to work out. My legs got to work out.
Yeah. You look like you were working CI. What was the total carnage that you saw? You had the guide that rolled over.
Guide rolled. So day one, guy rolled 2 hard tops, at least 3 JK or JL corners, left corners,
Ooh.
2 taillights, and one guy ripped off, like on the JLs, the license plates on the bumper,
Okay.
and he ripped that off. So, yeah.
So some carnage, but some tops.
Tops, yeah. So one dude bounced off a stump and had a tree stick, like a branch, go through his back window and just stayed in it. So it ripped the window out through the C-pillar of the vehicle. Yeah, and folded his whole top open, windows hanging in the tree still. Like, yeah, bad news bears.
Okay. Sad day for that.
So if you're going to do an 8-9 trail in the woods, maybe have a soft top or take your hard top off before you go back in there.
That's probably a good plan.
Yeah.
It's probably advised.
Yeah, because you get a soft top for $700, and hard tops are not that cheap.
Worst case, someone's mom knows how to stitch somewhere.
Right. Right. And then now this is my wheeling top, and I'll leave it as that. I'll buy a new one.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah. So I guess day 2, other than the flop, we had the guy flop. We had a YJ with a CJ front clip. It was a very nice, very clean build. Like I would use it for like a cruiser, like personally.
Yeah.
Like going to get ice cream in my CJ, kind of thing. He ripped the shackles off the frame for the leaf springs in the front, which was pretty rad.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm pretty sure a JKU on our JK 2-door on our group lost his front carrier.
Eesh.
One guy said it was working, but when Sean and I saw it, he had it in 4-wheel drive, he said, and the front tires were just pushing. The back tires were churning, and the front tires weren't rolling. So
That's not good.
He was able to drive it out, but I don't know if he had 4-wheel drive or not.
Yeah. Selective 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, when it kicked in kind of thing. We had a Jeep that had just some computer issues.
Okay.
And he was struggling with it all day. Like it would, what's the
I
opposite?
know I know how that goes.
He would vapor lock out of nowhere, it would just shut off. Yeah, just weird stuff. And then Sean showed him the whole, you could turn the key 3 times, click it over 3 times, it'll show you the codes. He had like 11 codes.
That's always helpful.
Yeah, and so Sean started Googling. One was like O2 sensor. One was like air temperature coming into the motor. One was like the crank sensor. One was, it was all engine performance related codes.
Right. Yeah. So it just wasn't happy.
No, it wasn't happy, and he drove it almost to the very end, and then finally got up to an access road and just parked it, jumped in with somebody.
Right. Just like this isn't.
It's not worth it anymore.
Just not my day.
And when he did that, is when the CJYJ broke down. So they pulled him out, and the guy was like, "Hey, do you guys? This is the last little bit of trail. Do you guys want to hit it?" And I looked at Sean. I'm like, "You know what happens to the last little bit, right? We're gonna break something too." He goes, "Yep, we're done. We're good."
Yeah. So it's always good to know when to throw in the towel.
Yeah, had a
Just
great
know
2
you're
days.
good. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's call it. I'm sweaty and dirty.
On the good mark.
Yeah.
Don't spend the next 8 hours trying to recover your Jeep that exploded.
Yeah, yard sailed out there.
Yeah.
So it was rad. I mean, met some really good people, really solid dudes that if I ever go back out west, hook up with. And Sam, Mike, and Ian were all great dudes.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, Mike was definitely just like one. He was the trail guide's buddy, and he got a trail guide shirt. So he was like a helper, and just like a rad blue collar dude. Like it's cool to talk to. Steve, our trail leader, was amazing. And then Ian was like the quiet trail leader, but still really cool. A very nice built rig, could drive really well.
Yeah.
End up having a driver's meeting with those guys after the event, hanging out in the parking lot.
The after event driver's meeting.
Yeah. And just talking to them. And those super rad guys, good, really good stories, really good, just good people. You know? I didn't meet anybody there that wasn't cool.
No, that's awesome.
Except for the New York guys, because Mike B from New York is an awesome dude, but it sounds like he's mad all the time. He got that New York accent.
Okay.
And he would say something, and I'm like, oh, it's because of his accent.
Oh, right.
Because his daughter is like 16, and she's out there piloting a TJ on 39s, 60s, and it's a stick shift. And she drives that thing better than some adults I know. Like, she was out there killing it.
That's always impressive.
And he walks over, he's like, hey, anybody get pictures of my kid? And I'm like,
what? That's awesome.
Of course, with my camera in my hand, because that's all I was doing was taking pictures. I took like 900 in 2 days.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got you. You don't know worry. So I sent them to him. He was fired up, super grateful. But like when he said it, I'm like, should we not have? Like,
am I getting put on a list somewhere now?
Right. But he was a rad dude, and everybody was super cool. And everybody knew. I think the cool thing was everybody understood that nothing was like Jambo's fault. Like we couldn't have the banquet that we had when we were up in Drummond. You couldn't have it. The breakfast, we used to have that buffet for breakfast. You can't do it.
Right.
So they're trying to make up for it. So they just throw everything in they give you McMuffins, basically like egg McMuffins for breakfast.
Yeah.
Egg McMuffin and a juice and a snack.
In a way, though, did it kind of like move along a little faster?
No. You can't get a group of Jeep people together and have it go fast.
No. I was wondering if that was a possibility, but no, it doesn't ever seem to be the way.
No. I mean, the only thing that was faster was dinners. Because like you'd get there, they throw you your box meal, and you would just shove it in your hole and leave.
Right.
I mean, so there's no like, hey, Jason, tell me about your trip. Tell me about the day.
Right.
Oh, hey, my friend Mark did this. Come talk to him. Oh, Jim, let me see those pictures. It was like, eat on a tailgate of the truck and leave.
Yeah. God, that sucks. Because half of it, like that nighttime dinner, getting together, like that was half the fun.
For sure. Like the camaraderie part of it was huge. Yeah. When we went, and it didn't happen.
Because Drummond, we met a lot of people.
Right.
That's how you meet the people in the other groups. But
yeah, because like you said, I never talked to anybody from the 1-3 groups.
Right.
I moved around, but
even never then, really heard how they did or what their experience was.
But even then, you don't know what other people's views on the Rona are.
Yeah, it's true.
So you don't want to go and put yourself in their space.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they're not comfortable with it.
Right.
And we all wore masks.
Oh, I get it.
We wore masks for breakfast lineups, and wore masks if you had to go to the bathroom over by the group. I mean, there was.
Yeah.
Like it or not, it makes you feel more comfortable, and it is what it is. Like, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it makes the group feel better. I'll do it, whatever. And it was something required by the Jambo if you wanted to eat.
Yeah.
So
I get it. They got to play by the rules. Everyone does.
Well, because the last thing you want to hear is on the news tomorrow, 75 sick from a Jeep event.
It had to be the Jeep Jamboree.
Mm-hmm. Oh. So I'd go back.
Sounds awesome.
I'd like to go back down there with like 5 rigs.
Okay.
To like an AOAA just for a weekend or a long weekend. And bring a couple rigs. Then we can explore and kind of see, maybe I'd have a lot of fun on the 6 trail or the 4 trail.
Yeah, maybe like a 5.
Yeah. Go try a 5 on the first day and be like, okay, now we can try a 7.
Yeah.
Because I've done the 8s and 9s. I drove a little bit. Sean drove most of them, but I get the gist of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe where's the views of the mountain and the Bambis and the let me see some of that action. What's up?
Where are the old mine carts at?
Right. You see these out here in like brand new JTs and JLs, and I'm like, dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah,
I can imagine. I'd cry smashing the top on that.
One of my favorite parts was I saw a dude show up in it was either a TJ or a JK. I don't remember. I remember the action more than the vehicle.
Okay.
But he had factory steps on it, like Nerf bars. And he's in the parking lot in line for the run with a cordless impact gun, ripping his steps off. I was like, yep.
That's awesome.
That's my kind of guy, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Wow.
Lots of questions, 'cause obviously we showed up as Midland.
Yeah.
So we had Midland stickers on our truck, on Sean's truck. And we're wearing Midland shirts. And we're introduced by Eric, the guy, as, hey, the guys from Midland, Jim and Sean, are over there if you have any questions. So lots of questions about GMRS versus FRS.
Well, it's a good thing you're kind of a knowledgeable radio guy.
Sean blows me out of the water.
Really?
Yeah,
they sent the right people
so
then.
my thing was, you know what? The guy I talked to about that question is Sean. I'm here for photos. I'm the photo guy. If you have any questions about this Canon I'm shooting, I'll happy to answer them.
Yeah.
And Sean would be like, yeah, 147.6.75 to 1.7783 is this channel, and he's just dropping knowledge. One dude looks at him and he goes, hey, he's from like New York, right? He's like, hey, your buddy's kind of a nerd, isn't he? And
That's awesome.
I was dying, bro. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, do you speak English or what? So like what he's trying to tell you is they only work on certain frequencies, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you hit stuff with a hammer, right? He goes, yeah, that's how I fix things. I'm like, okay, so you need just to get a GMRS and be done with it.
Yeah. Turn the knob to the number we tell you.
Yeah. And he was out there, hey, your buddy's kind of a nerd, huh? I was dying, bro.
That's awesome.
Because the first thing he says to me, he rolls up and he looks at me and he goes, you from Midland? I'm like, yep. He goes, your website sucks. And I was like,
he's just that guy.
I'm like, all right, bro. We got to get used to that East Coast blunt. You know, he was just, when you talked to him, he's a cool guy, but like, he came off like super blunt. So I hit him with, it's good to know, sir. I'll make sure to tell IT. And Sean's like, you were so political. I'm like, what do you tell the guy? I mean,
right.
You know,
that's awesome.
yeah, it was right. It was a great
right.
time, dude. All the way around. I met some solid people. The one issue that I run into is shooting photos all the time is you don't get to meet people as much because you're behind the camera. You know, and
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, especially trying to like get to the good spot. I almost got ran over at like one of our friends from Michigan hit me up and it's like, hey, do you have any pictures of me in that spot where you almost got hit a dozen times? I'm like, yeah, I got you. No worries. You don't get him too. But I hid behind a stump and I would pop out in the road. And once I could only see the headlight in the viewfinder, they were too close. I get out of the way.
Yeah.
So I'm clicking away, and just once it got too close, I would jump out of the way.
You get that like Discovery Channel camera guy thing going. You're like watching the lion come at you. Like, oh, this is a great shot.
And then you
You're
crunch.
Like,
yeah. Because at one point,
by a lion?
At one point, the trail guide's like, just aim for the stump to this driver. Aim for the stump and hammer it.
You're like,
and I'm like,
I'm
behind the stump. So I'm like looking around. I told one guy, I'm like, hey, bro, you stand behind me. I'm like, if I start running, I might tackle you, but we're both going to get out of the way, just so you know.
It's going to hurt going down in the rocks.
You're in my exit strategy right now. So he moved. He went to the other side of the trail where they weren't aiming for.
Perfect.
So I was like, hey, how's the view from over there? He's like, the view's bad, but I'm safer. I'm like, oh, I got to get the shot.
You got to get the shot.
So here I am.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's like the one shot you saw of the red TJ and the crawlers.
Gorgeous shot.
I'm like literally 4 feet from his tire, spinning on a rock, and I'm like,
I was looking, I was like, he's zoom in on that, or is he like there? Because you look like you're there, and it is a great shot.
Well, I wanted to use my longer lens and go hide in the woods.
Yeah.
But then people would be between me and the shot.
Right.
So if you put yourself in a stupid position, nobody's gonna get in front of you.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing. You always see that camera guy like getting in there.
You gotta get in there. I'm getting sprayed with mud and rock, and I'm like, but I got the shot.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was rad. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I'm really thankful for, Dr. Deathwobble calling and Midland Radios, and it was awesome.
Hooking it up.
Yeah.
You guys out there, and that looked like a lot of fun. I'm devastated I couldn't do anything, but.
So we get down there, and Sean's like, we should have just snuck Jason down here. He's like, we could have put him in the back. We had enough food to share with him. They didn't know he was coming. And I was like, he had to work. He goes, yeah, he could have called off. I'm like, I don't think he could have. That was a problem.
Yeah, no, probably would have been rough. I probably could have figured something out, but no. One day I will actually wheel.
Maybe the next event you can go and I'll stay home.
Yeah, the ZJ's running again.
Woo!
No Christmas tree lights on the dash. Fires right up. Thanks again to Dustin. Hooked it up with a new to me ECM. Plugged it in. Fires right up.
Like DW Designs, Dustin?
Yeah, absolutely, buddy.
Okay.
It fired right up, and I think it even runs a little better. I might have been shorting myself this whole time.
This whole time.
I should have known. Like, it started to have some issues.
Okay.
And I think that was my clue. Like when it forgets how to idle. I think that was probably the clue that it's got some issues.
I wonder if you used the ECM for the TJ.
Maybe. Maybe that's I don't know.
All of a sudden I got like V8 power, like yes.
I know I don't have that. It does run better, smoother, a lot better throttle response.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I've gained any,
No HPs?
I'm not breaking any land speed records.
No HPs?
No HPs.
Okay.
Still got the torques, but none of the HPs.
Okay.
It gets, it's still 0 to 60 in like 3.5 hours.
But it gets there.
But it gets there.
Looks good doing it.
Well, yeah, because the door's off, so it feels extra reckless going down the road.
Extra hardcore.
It needs like the exo cage now or something.
Right.
And then it would be complete.
And that 7-slot society sticker over there just glowing.
It looks at home now.
Oh, I ran into a guy, new Angel down there too.
Really? Dude, that's what we got to do is we got to get Angel over there. We'll meet, like, he's kind of 8 hours the other way or something, isn't he?
I think he's in Virginia, so yeah. Virginia's the next state over.
Yeah, well, he's probably close. We got Angel. If you're listening, that's where we'll meet up.
Once you finish the mullet, we'll finish Chupa or
we'll finish something.
the Gold Monster here and bring that down there.
That might be its final run. Maybe I'll go kill it in Pennsylvania.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Push it down one of the coal mines.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened to it. That could be a good plan. I would just take the plasma cutter so we can bring the 1-ton axles back.
Bring the import stuff back.
It'll be good.
The 1-ton axles and the hood pins.
I could probably get new hood pins. Yeah, the hood pins because, well, of course, the cable had to break.
Right.
So it got hood pins because why not?
I did talk to the DNR some more, by the way.
Oh, you have DNR answers.
I think it was.
We had a debate.
Was
online.
it Carrie that we were talking to online?
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
That was Carrie Porter.
That you were having the DNR debate with?
Yes.
I don't know. Now you guys checking the interwebs. I don't know. No, Cindy.
Was Cindy?
I think it was Cindy.
Anyway, I've been talking to DNR, and I still have no answers.
Okay.
So the lady I talked to at DNR said, basically, read this chart, and sent me a chart and said, these should have all your answers.
Read this, and you should be good.
Right. So I read it.
And you have no answers.
I was like, well, this is exactly what...
possibly more in the gray.
This is exactly what we were saying before, where if you're street licensed and legal, you don't need a sticker. Mm-hmm. I'm like, unfortunately, your enforcement guys seem to think differently than that. So can we maybe get on the same page about what's what, Yeah. So I'm waiting on, supposed to have her boss call me.
You went deep.
I just want the right answers, dude, because if I don't mind paying the money for the stickers. I know it goes to something good.
Right. But
if I can avoid paying the money for the stickers, I'm better off. Because it's $40 a rig.
Right.
Which to me is a little bit ridiculous. So yeah, I'm waiting on the answers for them, but I am trying to get the right answers. At this point, it sounds like if you are street legal, street licensed, ready to go, you don't need a sticker at all, period, which is what I was told a while back. But I just want to know the for sure answer,
Yeah.
So I can tell everybody the for sure answer and be on the same page and have it handled.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I'm at with that situation.
I'm pretty sure it was Cindy that was discussion was with. Carrie wants to be on the show, so we got to make that happen.
Okay.
Carrie, if you're listening, we're getting you on. We'll make that happen, along with everyone else.
Yeah.
we got kind of influx. We got busy, but we will make it happen. What else we got to do? Is that it?
Well, I got a bunch of ideas for this rig now.
Which one? Yours?
My TJ. After seeing those 2 red ones on the trail, I was like, oh, that could be me.
Heavy breathing.
Oh, dude, so much heavy breathing. Like, at one point, I was trying to sneak pictures, and I realized I'm the photographer guy. To sneak anything. I can just be like, do something cool.
Yeah.
And then I can take all the pictures that I want.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty rad, dude.
All right. Well, you want to wrap it up?
We can wrap it up. I think it's enough of me just bambling.
All right.
Bambling.
We'll make it happen. All right. I think that's it. I think we'll call it. We're out.
My ears got.
Yeah, that's one.